Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. It's a new week, new theme. This week's theme is alternative rock, and much like a few genres we've checked out in the past, I thought I knew what I was getting into until the suggestions started rolling in, and I didn't really recognize many of the bands. So I'm pretty excited about diving into this one and seeing if maybe my perception of the genre is correct. There's just more popular bands for the genre that I wasn't aware of. Today we're going to be starting with Sonic Youth, which is a band that I've heard of, but I don't believe I've ever heard music of. We're going to be looking at Teen Age Riot today. Let's dive in and see what's up. Very interesting production so far. Alright, got a little shift right here. Yeah, some really fun chord ideas. Yeah, that extended dotted line right there in the drums, the snare hits. Oh, maybe they're not dotted.
Time to get it before you let it get to you. Here he comes now.
Yeah, lots of energy with that hi-hat.
Everybody's coming from the winter vacation, taking in the sun in an exaltation to you. You come running in on platform shoes with Marshall Scotch to at least just give us a clue. Oh, here it comes.
Yeah, I think those are dotted.
I know it's someone I hear.
Because it keeps alternating between the downbeat and the offbeat. But it happens so quick. It is a fast tempo.
Tear it up in a hibernation for you. Now I see it. I think I'll leave it out of the way.
Actually, suppose the tempo isn't that fast. It's just they're working with faster notes.
Now I can hear you. It's not clear why you make the way.
Yeah, I suppose we're only working at like 130 BPM maybe. Really not that fast.
Got a bottle and a drum and a hammer that's rocking and a chord and a pedal and a lock that the need for now. It better work out. I hope
curious about the song structure though. Interesting. Such a short-lived variation. A whirlwind of a song.
Everybody's sound is grounded. Everybody wants to be proud to true. So who's taking blame for the stormy weather? You're never gonna stop all the teenage leather. It's time to go round. A one-man showdown teaches us how to feel. We're off the streets now, and back on the road on the riot trail.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know quite what to think of this one. It's kind of what I was expecting given alt rock, but also not. And so my preconceived notions coming into this were not exactly where they should have been, which made the intro a bit odd for me. And then the rest of the song, it's just, like I said, I'm confused about the song structure because it sounds like it's the same thing for this extended period of time. We had that small little break there in the middle, which I kind of felt might have been a bridge idea, but man, this is an interesting one for me. So let's dive into this and see if we can't talk our way through what's going on here, and maybe I can come to some sort of realization on the other side of this one. The song is separated into two parts. I would say we have our intro, which was wildly different from the rest of the song, and then we had the song proper. The intro consisted of some instrumentation and a female spoken word element that was panned hard left, hard right. There were two of them. They were saying the same thing, but they were not saying it at the same time. And then about the 1 minute mark, the song proper comes in with the core guitar riff that is used throughout the entire track. We have one of two drum patterns that I heard. This one was more of a basic beat with that dotted quarter note idea tacked on as on the last bit of the pattern. That sort of adds it's a drum fill and a sort of punctuation to the end of the passage. And then the other drum bit, which comes occasionally, is hi-hat based. It's like 16th note hi-hats, which sort of dominate the drum sound at that point. Now, the drums, I can see these two elements of. And like I said, the main signifier there to me is the hi-hat. It completely changes the feel of the drum section, completely changes the sound of the drum section. We kind of the punchiness of the snare and the bass kick are still there. However, to me it's dominated by that brighter hi-hat sound. And it's in stark contrast to the punchier segments that come before and after it that focus more on the snare and bass kick. But with the vocals, with the guitar, the bass, no, the whole song just kind of sounds the same to me. I couldn't really find any notion of different sections. It all just kind of blurs together into this singular sound. Aside from that 4 bar shift there that I felt might have been some sort of bridge, uh, and it was as soon as we had this small little change, as soon as I recognized, hey, we're doing something different, boom, it was gone. It's So we have this song that, for the majority of it, has sort of this bright poppiness to it almost. There's definitely a rock edge to it as far as the instrumentation and the speed goes, but I would say that the atmosphere of it kind of has a dream pop element to it, and I think some of that comes from uh, the highly modified guitar tone. It kind of reminds me of a shoegaze style of guitar. And then the almost nonchalant, low effort, low energy. We're going to go with low energy. Nonchalant, low energy type of vocals. I feel like the vocalist is very comfortable at this range. I don't feel like any aspect of the song they really push themselves as far as range or volume or any sort of anything that would cause strain or stress to their vocals or the perception of strain or stress. It's just the entire vocal section sounds very comfortable for the vocalist. Almost no different than sort of a speaking tone. It's just that it's like a speaking tone for the vocalist, but the cadence is sing-songy rather than conversational. And that right there is an interesting take too, because I didn't pick up a lot of lyrics, but one that he said was he had trouble getting out of bed, and maybe the only thing that would be able to do that would be a teenage riot. Um, and there's I'm gonna see if the lyrics are here because I am kind of intrigued if this lethargy or lack of motivation is present throughout the entire track, because that would actually tie in to some of the vocal performance elements as well. And that actually might even tie into some of the musical concepts, but oh, see, they call it an instrumental bridge. Yeah, the instrumental bridge. Holy cow. So there is a spoken intro. Yeah, so I mentioned the song composition was confusing me, and I mostly hear it all as one idea, but there's a lot of stuff in here. There's 5 verses, 3 oh, here's something that also confused me. There's 3 choruses and 5 verses before we hit that instrumental bridge near the end of the track. The choruses all have different lyrics to them, which is wonderful. Uh, but is it really a chorus? I wonder what the raw definition is of a musical chorus, because if it is a section that can have different lyrics but the music underneath is the same, that technically is a verse. But if we already have the verse, what do we call a second verse? So Yeah, I actually am not well versed in uh terminology like that to say that there might be a better way to organize this. But it is interesting that we have so many, eight sections before we hit that instrumental bridge and then our verse six and our outro. Yeah, the song is, I mentioned it being a whirlwind, and I think that this is what I was feeling about it, is that a lot of the music sounds very samey, but I wasn't able to catch any sort of distinctions in the vocals, or any musical patterns that would indicate change or repetition. It was all just kind of an assault of a singular concept. And I think this idea that there's so many lyrics in this song with no signs of repetition or landmarking is part of that whirlwind feeling where I couldn't quite get a grasp on the song no matter how hard I tried. It was constantly moving, constantly pushing forward, and it didn't care if I was ready for the ride, strapped in, or not. It took off, and I had no choice but to just go with the flow and experience it without necessarily understanding it. And the other aspect that ties into this concept of the whirlwind is the speed of the song. It never takes a moment to really chill out and calm down and provide any moment of relaxation from the breakneck tempo they're going through. And I mentioned that it's not necessarily the tempo that's fast. I'm going to play this real quick. I'm going to figure out what this tempo is. Okay. So I said it was about 130. I was a little off. It's 160, but yeah, that is not a ridiculously fast tempo, but it certainly uh, feels like it given the speed of the notes, especially when you listen to the drums. The guitars are mostly playing within that 160, sticking closer to the quarter notes. A couple of eighth notes here and there for some extra strums to liven up the guitar, the foundational guitar work that's going on, but the drums are just booking. Eighth notes here and there. The when the hi hat comes in, those are 16th notes. I'm pretty sure. There's a lot of speed and urgency given to the drums, which infects the entire song with this energy, this momentum, this drive. And that mixed with the lack of landmarks throughout the song, it really feels like just blistering forward uh, in like going 200 miles an hour in a car and not really knowing where you're going, where you're at. There's no landmarks. You try to look at what's around you, and by the time you have a focus on your environment, it's already gone. You've blown past it. It's in the rearview mirror now. And that's what the song feels like to me. And I'm interested what the message of the song is. Like I said, there's a lot of lyrics. I'm not going to try to break this down um, live like this. I might check it out afterwards, but I am curious if any of this urgency is present in the lyrical themes. Um, because, like I said, the only lyrics I picked up are about lethargy. And that kind of is antithetical to what's going on in the music. But yeah, I'm interested in what people are going to comment on this song with some context for it, possibly its position in history, maybe what they're going for at the time. I see this came out in '88, and I was all of 10 months old when this song came out. So I certainly am missing the historical context of its release. Um, but I mean, it's interesting. It's a combination of sounds that I'm not quite used to. That being almost like a high energy punk kind of concept as far as the drums go, with like shoegaze guitar sounds and dream pop-ish vocals, maybe just regular pop vocals. I'm not really sure where the vocals would fit, but yeah, and it comes together into this sound that is not what I was expecting for alt rock. I'm also interested about some of the like, oh man. So the song seems very upbeat, not just in the tempo, of course, or the drum work, but even the chords and the chordal modes that the guitars are playing in, that the vocalist's melody is in. It isn't. There's no sadness. There's no anger. There's none of the negativity in it. It is a very kind of upbeat vibe that the key and the chord are working within. And to add to it, we have these kind of poppy guitar strums. Dun da 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 dun da da dun da dun. It has this energy to it, this brightness, and it's just it is not what I was expecting from alternative rock. Now, maybe this is more of the origins of alternative rock. Maybe this is where alternative rock really came from, and what I'm used to might be, a '90s interpretation of it. This branched out into something else. Another type of alternative rock was inspired by this kind of stuff coming out in the late '80s, but yeah. But going back to this idea of brightness, though, is that the few lyrics I picked up didn't seem to be exceptionally bright. Dude doesn't even want to get out of bed. That's not necessarily something I would say to music as driving as this, as bright and driving. And then the song is called Teen Age Riot, which again is not, I mean, a riot's usually not something that's bright and exciting. Um, so I feel like there's this disconnect possibly between what the song is trying to say and how it's saying it. But the other interesting thing is that there's a bit of apathy, or uh, apathy is not the right word, but it's close. In the music, it almost feels like I said, there's still a brightness to it, but it doesn't feel happy. It's kind of there. The music just kind of exists. And I'm curious how maybe that works into some of this stuff as well, because it's just I think this is going to be my take walking away from this song. Teenage Riot by Sonic Youth exists, and it doesn't care if you understand it. That's kind of where I'm at. It moves at such a pace that you barely have time to understand what's going on before it's changed. But there's no landmarks, so you can't really even figure out where you're at or where you've been on this roller coaster ride. And the overall vibe, the emotional vibe of the track is just here's some bright sounds to sing with. It's an enigma of a track to me. And maybe that's just because I'm not used to hearing whatever it is they're doing, and some of the nuance that they're employing it has gone unheard by me. My ears aren't trained to listen to this style of music, and maybe there are a lot of really cool things in here that I just missed. I didn't know I was supposed to be listening for them, which happens. People's ears grow as they listen to different styles more. As I pointed out a few weeks ago, when we went back and checked out stuff that I was a bit harsher on, I have gotten a lot better at listening to post rock and post metal than when I started this channel. So I mean, it's all a growth thing, and I think this is one of those songs, if not entire styles, we'll find out as we continue to explore alternative rock, that maybe I need just more time to spend with to understand what's going on here. Um, but yeah, right now it just seems to be this whirlwind enigma of a roller coaster that exists. I was here on this ride. I felt I felt this journey, this roller coaster. I just don't know what I heard while on the ride, if that makes sense. So like I said, this is definitely one of those times I'm going to be looking forward to comments. Let me know what you thought of this one. If you have any context, if you know what the song is about, if you were there when it came out, or if you were a part of this alternative rock scene, and you just have any sort of context, whether it's personal context, your interpretation of the song, or interviews or whatever, go ahead and hit me up in the comments. Let me know what's going on with this song, because I want to know. I'm intrigued here. When you're done commenting, you can head up to the description box, and there's a link for Linktree. It'll take you to this menu right here. It's everything related to the channel. You can check out blocked videos. You can follow me on Twitter. You can support me through Patreon. You can buy some merch. All sorts of stuff. The Discord's in there as well. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Alright, we got one more video coming up in 3.5 minutes. It'll be our special selection for the day. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC as usual. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.